Okay, you ready to start with a brief bio of yourself?
Okay. Just professional bio or just...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Dale with Realvolve, and this is our fourth installment of our webinar series. We are committed to helping everybody have their best 2019 ever. Today, I am joined by Emily, Carrie, and Charity. They are three of our customization specialists, VAs, onboarding specialists. I don't know what we're calling you guys these days. But Emily, Carrie, and Charity all have experience in the real estate industry, decades of experience, especially when you combine them. And we are having them in the studio today because they spend every day, all day, talking with real estate agents about automation, about database structure, about organizing their lives and organizing their work. And so today we're going to be talking about what they've learned over the past few months. So what I would love to do is introduce you all in just a few minutes here, but just let our audience know that we've got, five people devoted and kind of 5.5. We have Gary that's kind of floating. But we have 5 people on the Realvolve team dedicated to customizing and setting up tailored automations for our customers. And all of you come from the real estate industry. Charity is a licensed real estate agent. Mm-hmm. We also have Lisa, who's not on the call. She's actually on a call with a client today. She's also a licensed real estate agent. Emily and Carrie both have been working with real estate teams for years now. And we are really excited to talk about everything that you guys have learned since June when we launched this program. I know, Charity, you've been with us a little bit less time than Emily and Carrie. But to start us off, Emily, why don't we start with you because you were the first one I spoke to earlier this year. Actually, Carrie, you were the first one I spoke to. Let's start with Carrie. Carrie, I spoke to you first on the phone. Yeah, it was very close. It was within a week and a half or something like that. But Carrie, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you were doing in your profession before joining Realvolve? I guess it was maybe like March when you joined up with us, something like that. This year?
March was my first day with Realvolve. I started taking on fast start clients, so just doing some training. My funny story is that I called Dale and Dave asking for more training so that I could help the clients that I was working with, and the next thing I knew, I was a trainer. So I guess I said some of the right things on that call. Who knows? I have been working with I had been working with a brokerage for about 3 years as the office coordinator. Or as I always said that I wanted to be the director of magic because I just made it all happen and they didn't have to figure out how it all happened. Just making sure the processes were in place, following up with agents to make sure that the clients are being taken care of to our very high standards. I did that for about 3 years, and then I actually opened up my own VA business where I was helping other agents do the exact same thing, which is then when I was found by Realvolve and started doing the same thing for Realvolve.
Awesome. And by the way, I just wanted to say for anybody listening that's a real estate agent or a team, if I hear word that anyone offered any of these 3 lovely ladies a job, I will come to your place and take you down. And I'm a big old boy, so you don't want to do that. All right. So, Emily, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I actually got into all of this through my sister's real estate agent. She was overwhelmed with paperwork and the processes, keeping the files organized, and needed support in that regard and was willing to teach me real estate. So she kind of brought me under her wing, and in the process, we were on the hunt to find one platform that could handle everything. So transaction coordination, listing coordination, and put me on the project to find it. So we demoed a bunch of companies, different platforms, and settled on Realvolve because it truly was the one-stop place for everything that we needed. So learning that platform, to fine-tuning my skills, and then her friend caught wind of what we were doing, and her friend caught wind, and it kind of just took off from there to my own personal VA business, and then stumbled across you guys asking for a job because I felt like who better to teach than someone who was already doing it?
Yeah, and the funny thing was, I heard about you first because we reached out to our community to ask people for some testimonial stories, and you responded with a video. And that's how
right.
That's how I first heard about you. So you had already been using Realvolve. We're already working with some real estate agents, operating as a virtual assistant, and then we recruited you and brought you on board.
Yep.
Charity.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about you.
My story is a little bit different. Same, I've been in the real estate business. I got my real estate license about I think in November it was 8 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been an active agent, and I love what I did. It's different. I was introduced to Revolve though through Dave Crumby. Dave and I met at a gym together years ago, and we just became good friends. And I knew what he was doing behind the scenes here, and I've been keeping kind of track of him. So as I was building my real estate business, I also was in touch with Dave and said, "Hey, I know what you've got going on over there is really amazing and life-changing for some people. So keep me on your radar if you need someone to work for you." It was some, and to be, I prefer to work from, at home and stuff and whatnot too. But anyway, the time came in the beginning of summer. You reach out to me, and I still have my real estate license, but I love and have a passion for doing what I do here at Realvolve. Knowing that you have sleepless nights, I didn't have any systems in place as a single agent, and knowing that there's so many moving parts in transactionally, in addition to the personal touches, keeping in contact, staying on their radars to build those relationships. So I am so passionate about helping people and what me and the other VAs do, because I know astronomically that this is what real estate agents need. So, and by the way, I love the Realvolve team.
Awesome.
Yes.
We're glad to have you.
Yes.
So then we also have Christina and Lisa on the team. Both of them were tied up, couldn't make it today. So let's get started. Again, the reason why I had the three of you on today is because I wanted to really explore the things that we all think real estate agents should be doing a little bit differently in their business based on everything that we've learned since kind of launching this program. We did kind of a soft launch in April of this year. Then we did a really official launch because we had some beta customers, I guess you would call it, before that. And then we launched officially in June, really refined the process, launched it again, our second round in September. And so now we've got it really dialed in, and we've learned a ton. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So I know, Emily, what I want to ask you first is the basics of a CRM are that you need to have, a real estate agent needs to have all their clients into a system. And of course, we're not the only CRM out there, but we are the best CRM out there. So they need to have all their real estate clients and preferably vendors and other people that they're working with in the system and all organized. Let's talk about what people need to keep in mind, what real estate agents should keep in mind when they're building out their database.
Yeah. I would say I've seen in my personal experience two different kinds of agents. There's either the hoarders of information. They never delete. They want to keep, Joe Schmo that I met at the beach on Brigantine Island. You might never ever see him again, but don't delete him because I need him. And then I've got the other folks that are just, yeah, I know him. He's got brown hair, blue eyes. Like, that doesn't help us, the guy at the deli. So I think for us, making sure that your database is organized, that you could truly have it working for you, and that you've done the initial work in the beginning, scrubbing the information, making sure they have a first and last name, a contact number that actually works, where do they live, and keeping it really organized and clean so that you can find what you need when you need it.
Yeah, so I think, one thing that I've heard a lot, I think in general, when you're talking about a CRM, a customer relationship manager in any industry, a lot of times sales reps feel like they're designed for the management and they're not designed for the sales rep. And what that does is it creates a culture between us and our CRM that feels like a master-slave situation, or that our CRM becomes this tyrant where we know we should be keeping it up to date, but we don't really understand how there's a straight line connection between everything we're putting into our CRM today and how it's going to benefit us in the short term. I think all of us know that in the long term it benefits us, but if it doesn't benefit us in the short term, we have a really hard time buckling down and making ourselves do it. What would you say about keeping that information up to date? Why is it so important to keep a clean database? Why is it so important to keep notes? What's the benefit to me of spending my time, devoting my time, sacrificing my time to updating that?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, ultimately in the long run, it's your referrals, people that you take the time to nurture, people that you take the time to check in with, you know, a random text message, an impromptu phone call. And when did you make your last call? When was the last time you saw them or visited with them, grabbed a cup of coffee? You know, if you don't track those little pieces of your relationship business, your real estate world, it's so easy for folks to kind of slip through the cracks and be forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I love is our tags, right? So you can tag the heck out of people and find exactly who you're looking for when you need it based upon that. You know, I say the big buckets, and then you sift it down to the smaller buckets to fine tune what it is that you need in that moment, rather than having to kind of scroll through 3,000 contacts and find what you need.
Right. So talk to us about tagging then, because tagging is so important. Like you said, you have to keep your database organized, and the more organized it is, the more valuable it is to you. So what are some examples of, you know, how you would go about tagging? Let's talk about tagging strategy.
Yeah. So I always say, you know, sit down and think about what makes sense to you right now. So when you look at someone, a contact record, you know, were they a buyer? Were they a seller? Keeping those one-word tags so that you, again, can quickly find what you need when you need it. So maybe it's an active buyer for 2018. So you would have those 3 separate tags so that at any given point, you could see who are your active people in your database, who are the buyers in your database, who did you interact with on 2018, applying past then, once they're no longer inactive and they've closed a transaction with you, you could pull all of your past contacts. Again, all your past buyers, your past sellers. It's a quick, great way. You know, I always say past clients is a big bucket. If you sift that down even further, you could find your buyers, find your sellers, find the year that you interacted with them. You know, making sure the same for your vendors, right? How often do you need a really awesome septic inspector? Do you want to try to remember his name, or do you want to type in septic inspector and see who you have in your arsenal to call?
Yeah, and you would, yeah, that's a key point, because you would remember them if you had a list of 3 people. Then you would remember who each of them were and what the experience was like for your clients when you recommended that person. Another key thing that you said there, keeping really organized with all of the different categories of people that you're working with is really important, because when you're automating things in your real estate business, the better you are at customizing messages, the better received the message is going to be, right? So we have a rule that we talk about here at Realvolve. It's called anticipated, relevant, and timely. It's a work of art. So if your messages are anticipated, if they're relevant to that relationship that you have with that person, and if they're timely in the context of that relationship, in other words, if I want to be communicating with somebody after I've sold them a house, let's say they bought a house for me last year, and I know that they bought a house in November of 2018, I can send them an email in 2019 in November that says, it's been a year, blah, 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 blah. And then it's anticipated, relevant, and timely. That person has no idea that it was an automated message. It feels extremely personal to them. And like you said, Emily, that is what creates that repeat business and that referral business.
Yep.
So let's talk, one more question I have for you about tagging. What are some of the mistakes that people make when they're tagging?
We've seen some interesting methods, I'll say, to tagging. The thing that a lot of folks don't realize is, you know, a capital buyer, so capital B buyer, lowercase b buyer, that's 2 tags right there. And then if you've got a capital B buyers, plural, lowercase b buyers, plural, you've now got 4 tags that mean the same thing. So getting this organization, again, sitting down and right now make a list of your tags, what's going to be your scheme, all capital, all lowercase, singular, plural, and sticking to it. Having that moment of clarity to set yourself up for success in tagging so that you don't end up with 27 tags that are all kind of similar. You know, I think getting that again, because if it makes sense to your head, don't name it something that you're not going to click with. Escrow officer, if you only deal with title, picking the verbiage, picking the tenses that are going to always resonate with you so that you can find them quickly and easily.
Yeah, so make sure you decide if you're going to do lowercase or uppercase, and do it the same way every single time for every word, no matter what the tag is. And then also make sure you're deciding singular versus plural, and do that every single time. And we recommend, I personally recommend lowercase and singular. You guys recommend capitalizing the first letter?
We do.
Okay. Yeah, so capitalize the first letter and always make everything singular, and that'll keep you out of trouble. I like it. Good advice. So, Charity, let's talk about nurturing clients. I was trying to find a stat while Emily was talking here. We just posted something on Facebook yesterday. I can't remember the stats now because Facebook won't let me log in. But
I saw that.
yeah, so we just posted something yesterday. Regardless, the stat changes a tiny bit every year, but it's about 80 to 90% of all real estate transactions every year are done through some sort of a personal relationship, an existing relationship of some kind. In other words, buyers and sellers are finding their real estate agents through either a personal connection of theirs or a personal connection of a friend or a family member. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about how keeping everything organized in your database can help you create a bigger business.
Yeah, so as a real estate agent, I absolutely know that that's where I got the bulk of and honestly, those are the people that I wanted to work with. Mm-hmm. It's always easier to work with people that you've built relationships with rather than strangers. So what we have done as VAs, we have a past client. We've had a workflow for past clients that you can go back to the people in your database. Once you tidy it up, you can launch workflows on them that, although, we have drip email portions of them, the really great thing that we have with our workflows is we have custom touches reminders from here into infinity. They don't ever end. You just start the workflow over every year and everybody. Because what relationships to me is not only what building trust and loyalty and things like that, but it's the work that you do during a transaction or in your relationship, but it's the feeling that you give people too. Mm-hmm. So after your commission check is cashed and you move on past the transaction, right, Emily? Yes. It's how you make them feel. I think relationships are about the feeling. If you send them a text quarterly, they don't know that you're set up quarterly. You text them like, "Hey, how are the kids? How is their volleyball season?" Little things that you keep track of that you can make more personalized to them. People that if they feel valued and cared for. I would use somebody that kept in touch with me on a personal basis. And then if you have a buyer that bought from you this year, they may sell and upgrade in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you don't want to lose them. You always want to stay on their radar. And the program that we help our clients implement through our workflows is to not only do just helpful emails that go out monthly, but those actual personal touches that really keep you on their radar to actually nurture the relationships and make them feel valued and important.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about our system is there's a lot of assisted automation. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's not 100% automated where you don't touch it. You're still involved as the real estate agent, which makes it so much more personal for your clients.
Correct.
And the beautiful thing is that, like you said, you can create these reminders, these tasks for yourself in perpetuity, for infinity. Mm-hmm. And that makes sure that you never lose track of any client. You're always staying top of mind with everybody. And you can just log into the system in the morning or be prompted for the people you need to reach out to today so no one ever slips through the cracks.
Absolutely.
So talk about one of the things that we've done, to make sure that we're setting up this automation for people, or talk to us about some of these automations that we do. What are some examples of the types of reminders that we would provide for somebody in our customization program?
Well, the beauty of it is, we have it set up now. We have an actual workflow, but we can customize it because people like to change things up and do things differently. But the one thing that I love about our current workflows is that the quarterly touches. It's not an automatic email. You're reminded you can send them a personal BombBomb if you use BombBomb, a phone call, a text if you want to take them out for coffee, if there's something important going on in their life. We have birthdays, home anniversaries, reminders that you can send out personalized bombs or stock bombs and stuff too. But we have all the major holidays and important dates to them, their relationship dates if you want to use, anniversary date, home anniversary dates. So we can customize it to anything that they want. If they want to do more than quarterly personal touches, we can totally rearrange that for them too. So, but we do have the good content that goes out as an email drip in between those personal touches as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love those birthday reminders are so good. I know that a lot of people do a pretty good job of keeping track of their clients' birthdays, but I love how Realvolve can just set it up for you. You can simply kind of check a box and double check that you want to send the message before you send it, or you can make it 100% automated. And one of the things that, one of my favorite stories that I heard was somebody was trying to set up an automated text message to go out to all their clients on their birthdays, which you can do. You can have a text message out of Realvolve go out on each individual's birthday, and you can use merge fields to put their first name in there and say happy birthday Charity on their birthday. And one of our clients was trying to set this up, and she was just kind of playing with it. It was like her first day with Realvolve, and she accidentally sent a text message to her entire database that said happy birthday. I was just thinking about you today. And the funny thing was that it started a ton of conversations between her and her clients, and she got some repeat and referral deals out of it. By simply reaching out with the wrong message, it was still better than nothing. And that's the key thing that I want to sink in for everybody. Make sure that you at least have the safety net, bare minimum automatic stuff going out, right? And then try to go above and beyond. I think what a lot of us do is we plan for the best case scenario. We think, oh, I'm going to be on top of it. I'm going to stay in touch with all my clients. I'm going to look up this. I'm going to look up that. That's the wrong way to approach it, because what happens is you get behind with your follow-ups. You're sick one day. Your kids are sick. You feel lazy, whatever it is. You need to have that safety net so the bare minimum happens at least automatically. And then we recommend that you go above and beyond when you're on top of things.
Well, and that brings me to a good point. Well, one of the clients...
Could you turn down again a little bit? Yeah. That's better. Perfect. Thank you.
One of my clients, he's awesome, and they're so creative. But besides the bare minimum, the one thing that they have committed to doing every year for that personal touch for each of their clients, and I think this is so amazing, that on every year he's going to sit down and he's going to record custom birthday bombs for everyone in his client at the beginning of the year, and just have it ready to go to pull on their birthday. So he's going to have little props and fun things that he does. Nice. And he's going to commit like a whole day to just doing a custom bomb to recognize our birthdays every year too. So I thought that was a pretty great idea as well. So it's what you want to make of it too, and those special things that you do want to carve out to give it that extra special personal touch.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other really neat thing, what we recommend as a team is setting up this automation so that everybody in your database has a plan, right? That every single one of your clients is on a follow-up plan of some sort. And that's what you guys are doing for our customers. So that by the time they get through the 6 or 8 week customization program, everybody in their database is taken care of. And I love that. We also have an additional feature in Realvolve called the contact cross-section that people can go into. A real estate agent can log in and see if there's anybody that was missed. They'll automatically be shown up in the contact cross-section if they need some sort of a follow-up. If they're one of your A clients, it's going to remind you, for example, follow up every 60 days or every 30 days, depending on how you want it individually as a real estate agent. So there's kind of these layers to make sure that nobody gets dropped ever, and it's so crucial. I love reading all those studies that talk about how much more affordable it is to keep a client than to bring on a new client. To get repeat business is so much easier and more cost effective than bringing on new clients. And we forget that sometimes. We get drunk on the new lead drip. Yeah. And while new leads are great for some people, some agents and teams are really good and really efficient at following up with their leads. Some people are not. And so it's really important, no matter what stage of your business you're in, no matter what style you operate in, you need to keep all of your clients. I know the worst feeling for real estate agents is driving down the street and seeing somebody else's sign in front of the yard of one of your clients. Yep. That's just a gut bomb.
Yep, total gut bomb.
It's a gut bomb.
Yep.
So Carrie, for real estate agents that are new to automation, real estate agents that haven't done a great job at having systems in place. Charity admitted earlier that she wasn't the best when she was a real estate agent at making sure she had all these systems set up. You probably didn't even realize what was possible.
I didn't. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Now people need to know.
It's really incredible what we can do for people in terms of
Yes.
saving their brain power, their emotional state, and saving them time. So, Carrie, talk to us about what you recommend, again, based on what you've learned over the last 6 or 8 months. What do you recommend people do to start getting ready for automation? How do they think through that whole process?
The real reason that I ended up in this business is I can remember the stories of real estate agents waking up at 2:00 in the morning going, oh, I forgot to order a home inspection, or did I get the earnest money in, or just those nightmares. And I thought, ugh, how do you ever remember all those things, especially if you have 5 or 6 or more transactions going on one time? The honest answer is you don't. There is not a way for you to accurately keep in touch with all the things that happen in real estate. There are a lot of steps that need to happen all at the same time, a lot of times. So having those systems in place is the only way for you to truly make sure that you're staying on top of all of those specific tasks, especially when you get to be a very busy, agent with lots of different transactions going on.
And I mean, there's different abilities, right? Some people can handle more than others, but at some point, everybody reaches their finite capacity, because it's not an infinite capacity to manage things and juggle things in your brain. Even though some of us are better than others, we still have a finite capacity. And what we've found is that a lot of agents can manage things in the quote unquote off season when they're a little bit slower. But as soon as the market ticks up, they're not ready for the uptick. They haven't prepared for it, and they hit the ceiling, and they can't manage anymore. I was just talking to an agent a couple of weeks ago that said, how's your I was just asking her questions about her personal life, like what does she like to do for fun and things like that. And we were just kind of chatting, and she said, you know what, for the last year, my weekends are a problem. That's what she said. I had to ask her to clarify. Your weekends are a problem. What do you mean? She's like, I don't have weekends. I'm just so busy managing everything. My business is taking off. It's great. I'm earning more money, but I have no personal life. And that's a big problem for my family. My friends complain about it. It's a problem.
And that's exactly, I have had agents tell me I have not taken a vacation in 20 years. Since I started being a real estate agent, I've never taken a vacation because I can't walk away from my business. And that's why we encourage you, especially when you have that down season, to sit down with a piece of paper, on the computer, or wherever you think best, and just jot down, what is your system? What do I want each of my clients to see from me? What is the perfect scenario? We always talk about a proactive business instead of a reactive business. I always tell my clients, I want you to answer your clients' questions before they know they have the question. If you give them as much information as possible, they're never going to call you at 2 a.m. or whatever time in the day or on those weekends panicking because they didn't know the answer, because you've already given them the answer. They don't have to worry about it. So we can build in those systems and also make sure that we're consistent. Like you said, we get to the point where I can handle 3, 4, 5, whatever my number is of transactions, and I got that. I can totally handle it all. I know what's going on. But I get to that 6th one, and it all falls apart because I now can't balance that many things. If you have systems in place and you have that workflow, the calendar tells you today you need to do this for these 3 people. Tomorrow you need to do this. It's awesome because you don't ever forget that each one of your clients is getting that top-notch, perfect customer service that you thought of from the very beginning. One of my favorite things is the weekends. If I'm looking at my calendar and I show every one of my clients this, if I look at the calendar and I see that there are 10 things they're supposed to be due over the weekend, on Friday, I'm staying an extra 30 minutes to finish Saturday and Sunday so that I know that when I walk away from my desk, my business has been taken care of and it's all done. I can walk away and truly focus on my family or whatever it is that I want to do for that weekend, and I don't have to worry about forgetting things because I know that I already did them.
Yeah, that's such an important point, because if you feel like you're in this revolving business where there's always more things that you should be doing, you have this latent anxiety that just follows you around. That's a horrible way to live. And if you don't see the few the list of the things that you're supposed to do. If you can't see a list somewhere, a physical list that I can look at and say, okay, I only need these 3 more things done, and then I can take the weekend off. Of course, if there's a fire that, pops up, a client calls you, they need something, sure. But to have the peace of mind that you've gotten through the week and completed all of your tasks, and better yet, if you're working with a team, the peace of mind that your team is all on track, your assistant has completed everything, that you've completed everything that they're waiting on you for. Holy smokes. The freedom that creates, the relief that you can create in your own life, your personal life, is it's a game changer for agents.
Absolutely. And that's how we kind of wrap up our whole program with our VA clients is, yes, we tell you from the very beginning, let's work on your database. And we get the moans and the groans, and I don't want to work on my database. But I always tell them at the end, our goal is to have a workflow created for every single one of your contacts in your database. Wouldn't it be great that everybody in your database, every one of your clients have some sort of workflow so that they have been addressed at some point during the next month, week, quarter, year, 2 years, whatever. We know what we want to do with them, and we divide those steps out. So if you just go to your calendar and follow, I'm going to do these 10 things or these 20 things, or even if you get to a day and there's 35 things, at least it's 35 things. And I'm a checklist person. They all laugh at me because they know that I need to check things off that checklist. Mm-hmm. But if I can get through that 35 checklist and at the end of the 35, my calendar's clear, that is such a freeing feeling to me that I know that I've done everything that I need to do, and I have not forgotten. I haven't let anybody slip through the cracks. I've been able to address all of my clients no matter what stage they're in with me.
Wow. Yeah, and so for some reason, I just wanted to mention your audio keeps going up and down. Carrie, I think your computer is automatically playing with your microphone settings.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know if you know how to fix that, but I just wanted to let our listeners know that we are not messing with your audio. I think it's your computer that's just automatically changing the sensitivity on your microphone. It's not a big deal.
It's probably all the notifications that come from all the emails and pings and everything else that are going on. That's probably more likely.
Yeah, it could be. So talk to me a little bit more about some automation. I have another question for you. So, Carrie, when you guys are setting up automation, what are the kinds of things that you're looking to automate? I mean, what are the categories of things that are possible to automate for clients using Realvolve?
Like I said, our goal is to have every client in some sort of follow-up. Database workflows, if they're a new lead, we want to follow up with them and make sure that we're following up with them accurately and that we're not forgetting about them. If they, you get them on the phone and they say, yeah, I want to buy, but I'm not ready yet. I want to buy in like 3 to 6 months. You don't want to forget about those people either. You want to follow up with those people. You meet someone at open house. How do I follow up with those people? So we literally have tried to think about every customer and what are the stages that they could be in, and how can we follow up with them. We also take you through an entire buyer process from the time that they say, yes, I want to buy, let's set up showings. How do I set up a showing? How do I give that information back to my clients in a showing report? Once they find their perfect house, how do I get them from that contract to closing? Once they've closed, how do I keep in touch with them? That's past client. Then we move on into our seller side, and we even go from, following up with them as a seller lead. They say, yeah, I want to sell my house. Let's do a listing appointment. Let's prepare for that listing appointment so we don't forget anything. Let's make sure we get everything done at that appointment that we need done. We go through pre-MLS, preparing them to be live. What happens? How do we market their property once they're in the MLS? And then again, obviously, once they go contract to close for that seller side as well. So we have literally addressed every status that we could think of so that all of your clients are in some sort of system.
Man, so you guys have thought of everything.
We tried.
So how many different workflows then, when you're working with somebody, how many different workflows are you setting up for them?
31 workflows currently, and we're always thinking of new ones. So right now it's at 31 and over 300 email templates. So it's a pretty big program.
So, the thing that always stands out to me, because I've seen some internet ads from some of our competitors, I won't mention any names, but I've seen some internet ads that say, such and such system is like having an assistant. What would you say to that?
I don't know the other systems. It would be my first answer. But for our answer, it is like having an assistant. So a lot of the clients come to us and say, I want automation. And I like your term assisted automation. I actually even wrote that down because that's what I try to get them to understand is, you're in a people business. You're in a relationship business. If you were to seriously put your business on complete automation, then they don't need you anymore. They need a computer. They want that personal aspect. They want for you to hold their hand and walk them through those different stages. Our system helps you be able to do those things by putting their, whatever you need to do with them on the calendar. It breaks it out so that you do get that list of, I need to do these things. So it does become like an assistant. And the great thing is you're not recreating those emails 500 times. You created that email one time, and I'm just tweaking it just a little bit for that specific client. That saves a ton of time long term. If you don't have to sit down and recreate an email every time, then you're saving yourself a lot of time.
So I want to talk about two more things before we wrap up here today. So I wanted to ask each of you a couple of questions. I want to go kind of around the circle here. The first thing I wanted to ask is if people are wanting to go out on their own and do this, so create better automation to organize their database, what are some pieces of advice, maybe not even in any particular order, but what are one or two pieces of advice that each of you would give to real estate agents as they're trying to get this process organized? And then what I want to do is maybe end with a story. If you can think of a story, I have two stories in mind of how automation and getting the database organized for people has really changed their business. And again, it doesn't have to be Realvolve. It can be another CRM. If you're somebody that's listening and you're using another CRM and you don't want to make the switch, I get it. There's definitely things you can do in any CRM that you're using to create this benefit. So who wants to start by giving us some advice if we're a real estate agent that wants to get started doing it ourselves on our own, getting our database organized and getting some automation set up? What's your advice to them?
I'll go first. I know it helped me out the most.
Sure.
I'm the newest VA, so I can understand the learning curve with Realvolve. The videos, there's the library. Is that what you're speaking of? Realvolve specifically, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, for Realvolve, the videos, the library is it's so helpful. There's the YouTube station that you can subscribe to, as well as if you're a Realvolve subscriber, you can hit the help and just hit any topic, and that's a great way to tagging, learning about activities, learning how to start workflows, editing steps, things like that, organizing your database and whatnot. There's videos for everything on Realvolve, so that's what actually has helped me besides Emily and Carrie, who are amazing. So, and the second, there was a question about the client or a story. What kind of story?
Yeah, just a story of how automation or having a database organized has helped an agent that you know of.
Well, I have a really great client that I'm working with. I'm wrapping up the program with her now. And she just ranted and raved. She's like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. I can't believe how much this process has helped me. And actually, in the beginning, when I was starting to work with her, I asked at some point, she's a single agent. I'm like, do you ever have hopes of having a transaction coordinator? And this is kind of what you and Carrie were just talking about too. She goes, no. Realvolve's my transaction coordinator. I don't need anything else, And for her as a single agent, and as we've gone through the program at the end, she's like, oh my gosh, she's going to launch all of her workflows as of January 1st, like at the beginning. But just seeing the value that she's so excited about and knowing now, she's like, oh my gosh, this is going to like change my world as a real estate agent. And 'cause she's a single mom, and that time is money, and just having that, like Carrie was saying, the peace of mind knowing everything's going to be handled and taken care of. It's that's why I love doing what I do too, because so it was a good moment, a little powwow we had during our wrap up. So
yeah, one of the stories that I was going to share was my friend Krista in California told me that after they got Realvolve set up and they built some of their own workflows themselves, she had an assistant on the team that just jumped in and learned it, and they're a really high producing team. But Realvolve replaced a 32-hour-a-week assistant for them.
I don't doubt it.
It does so much work on the automation side that they didn't need to replace a 32-hour-a-week assistant.
Wow.
Realvolve was doing so much for them. It's incredible how much automation can save us time and brain power. Like I said, even just the emotional energy that it saves is a miracle and a game changer. So, Emily, Carrie, who wants to go next? Talk to us about advice you would have for somebody that wants to go on their own, get their database cleaned up and in a better place, or get some automation started.
I was going to say, as Charity was talking, I was thinking of one of my past clients, and he upped his game. He always wanted to deliver a certain level of customer service to every single client. He always wanted to go to every listing appointment with a well fine-tuned presentation, but honestly, he's running and tying his shoes. He never had a chance to take a minute and sit and think and process and get that workflow in place so that if he had an appointment, what am I going to do every single time? So that if it's a referral, if it's a cold lead, if it's someone I met on the street, they deserve that same level of customer service, professionalism, and ultimately the marketing, advertising, all of that. So I would say take a minute, and it's worth the minutes that you'll spend to sit down and envision what you want each person to get. And automate that so that every single time you're delivering that same level.
That's good advice. So pick one category, right? Either working with buyers, if you're an agent that works with buyers mostly, or an agent that works with sellers. Pick buyers, for example, and say, what do I want to include in my customer experience that I want to consistently deliver every time with every client, and start with that. Map that out on paper. Yeah, that reminds me of some great advice that I got from Stephen R. Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said, have you ever been too busy driving to stop for gas?
Yep.
It's so important to stop, take a pause, especially right now. It's a perfect time. Everybody has a little bit of downtime during the holidays. Things kind of slow down a little bit for most of us. It's a great time to think about what we need to do in 2019 to improve our business, and start writing that down. Create a process that we can deliver every time consistently for our clients. I love that.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Absolutely. All right. So my advice is, my poor clients are now watching this going, again, I always say Realvolve only works if you use it. And if you use it, it's pretty amazing. So my advice is use it. Get into the system, start adding contacts, start adding properties. The more you're in the system and the more you're seeing where the information is, you're seeing how the information interacts together, the faster that aha moment comes. If you're using the system, and I always say, my clients call me the teacher, and then I always give them the homework of 1 hour a day. If you can dedicate 1 hour a day to just focus on getting your database organized, start getting your properties in, you will find that it tremendously helps the system start making sense. And I can actually see the aha moment on the call. One of my favorite clients, literally the moment that I saw it, it was like, oh, can we do this? Oh, let's add this. And I was like, oh, great. Here we go. Because the ideas just start flowing. And then they finally realize just what this can do for their business, how it can help them organize their team. She runs a team of about 20 people. So once she realized that all of the, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you follow up? She didn't have to do that anymore. She's like, I can just jump in their account, look at their calendar, and see if they need my help with anything. I'm like, absolutely. So knowing that having that organization is there and built in for her, literally, I can see the light bulb click on. It's amazing. But where we find the struggle is, hey, I tried to use it for 20 minutes like 3 weeks ago, and it didn't make sense to me. Nope, it's not going to make sense to you, because it is it's a muscle. You need to use it every day. You need to be in the system. And if you're not keeping a record of all of those phone calls, one of the other pieces of advice that I usually give is spend 30 minutes in the morning. When you're currently using Realvolve, go in 30 minutes in the morning before the phone starts ringing. What do I have to do with my day to day? How many emails do I need to send? How many phone calls do I need to make? How many appointments do I have today? How much of that can I get done right this minute? The answer is most of the emails. You can just get those sent out. And then you can focus on the rest of your day. Let me do my phone calls. Let me go, do my personal meetings with my clients. Spend 20 minutes at lunchtime, recheck in. Hey, who did I talk to this morning? Let me just make a quick note about that, because by the end of the day, you're not going to remember that. Same thing with the end of the day. Wrap up the end of your day with, now that I can look back on my day, let me finish what's on my checklist, but let me also make notes of what did happen today. We do it every day in our world. By the time we get through with, 5 or 6 clients by the end of the day, they come on the call tomorrow and I'm like, what did we do yesterday? Oh yeah, let me look at my notes. So it's just keeping that notes. You get so many things going at one time. You need some place to just keep a record of things that you can keep going.
Yeah. So, my friend Dave used to be a speaker. He's a professional speaker and traveled around with Tom Hopkins, who was author of How to Master the Art of Selling. quintessential sales book, the sales book, in my opinion. And they traveled around the country for years together and spoke to a lot of real estate agents. And now Dave is a mortgage loan officer, and looking back on his decades of working with real estate agents, realizes that he has no database of real estate agents that he ever kept track of. And huge missed opportunity. That reminds me of the Chinese proverb that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is now. So if you have not done a good job of keeping in touch with your agents because you're just not organized with your database, start doing it now. Start putting in your clients into a database of some sort, because there will be a point in the future where you're going to kick yourself for not keeping better track. Am I right?
Yeah.
Verl Workman, real estate coach extraordinaire. He is a genius, brilliant real estate coach. His system is incredible for helping agents get organized. I saw him speaking a few weeks ago, and he mentioned that the more your business relies on you, the less valuable it is to you, right? Your business becomes more valuable to you the less you actually have to do. And so what you need to do in your real estate business is create leverage. And you create leverage by having organization like Realvolve or some CRM where everybody's in the system and there's follow-up plans for everybody. That's leverage. That helps you scale up your time. Your system is doing work for you as a real estate agent that you're not having to do yourself. There you're leveraging a piece of software, a system to help you be better. It's almost like becoming a cyborg, right? It's like half you, half CRM. Your clients don't know. They just know that they're getting communicated with, and it feels good for them. They get the warms and fuzzies.
I have one client right now that every time I get on the call with her, she says, "You know what? My seller today was so impressed with my email. That's a really great email. It was full of information." She was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yeah.
And I remember the days of her creating those email templates. She's like, "Is this worth it?" Now she's like, "It's totally worth it."
Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you all for your time today. Thank you so much for joining us, taking some time away from your busy schedules. I know that we have been full since June when we launched this program. We have been 100% or 105% booked with clients. And I just wanted to close by saying, if you want some help, if you're a real estate agent that wants some help jumpstarting 2019, you should join now. We only have like 4 spots open, maybe 3 or 4 spots through the end of the year at this point. But we were running a special for Cyber Monday yesterday that I wanted to honor through the end of the week here. If you get started by signing up for one of these VA customization packages through Realvolve, it's only $2,500. It gets you all those workflows we talked about. How many? 30 workflows or something. Your system will be 100% organized. Your clients will be categorized the right way. Your tags will be all cleaned up. Use us as guides. We are guides to help you get this assisted automation set up in your business. It will change your life. That's my guarantee to you. And normally it's $3,200 on top of the subscription price. But this month only, which is only a couple of days left now, 3 or 4 days left in the month, get started now. It's only $2,500. It's $700 off if you get started now. There would be a waiting list of a week or 2 if you got started right away. But again, there's only like 4 more spots through the end of the year, maybe. We might only have 3 more spots through the end of the year. I got to double check with you guys because we just had somebody sign up just this morning. But we only have 3 or 4 spots through the end of the year. Get started now. It's only $2,500 on top of your subscription. If you have questions, just reach out to us at sales@realvolve.com, and we can go through a lot of the details with you. But $2,500 through the end of the month gets you in before the end of the year. It's your only way to get in, because I promise you those spots will fill up. Like I said, we've been overbooked or booked since June. We've never had more than 1 spot open for like 5 days at a time. So act now. Thanks again, Carrie, Emily, Charity. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us.
Thanks for
It
having
was a
us.
lot of fun.
Yes.
We really appreciate your expertise and everything that you've brought to the table. It's so much fun to talk to happy clients after they deal with you guys. We're changing people's lives one person at a time, and it's a lot of fun. Hopefully that those listening got something out of it today. And again, if you are looking for some better automation in your business, send us an email, sales@realvolve.com. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.